The last human warship drifted in silence through the wreckage, 1,000 dead worlds. The Vanguard burning broken but still defiant. Inside, Commander Ethan Voss limped through the smoke-filled corridors, his uniform torn, his arm bleeding from shrapnel. "Commander!" croaked his ship's AI, its voice flickering through static. "The Vaelian fleet, they are charging weapons again." Ethan looked at the black void through the viewport. The enemy flagship filled the horizon, a monstrous vessel of shimmering silver and violet crystal. At its heart sat Seraphine, queen of the Vaelian Empire, whose name meant Star of Wrath. She had annihilated 3 human colonies in one day, leaving nothing but ashes in orbit. Ethan gritted his teeth. "Then we'll make sure she remembers our ashes, too." He dragged himself to the command console, fingers flying over cracked keys. Divert all remaining power to the fusion core. Set coordinates for the Vaelian flagship. "Commander, are you initiating self-destruct?" Ethan smiled grimly. "Not self-destruct. Retribution." The Vanguard's engine screamed one last time, and the ship surged forward like a dying star. A collision of light and fury followed, tearing through space. When the explosion faded, the flagship of the Queen herself was gone. At least, that's what history recorded. 1 year later, deep in the slave pits of Neuraxis Prime, a man known only as a ghost fought in the blood arenas for survival. His identity was erased, his past buried. The Vaelian Queen's bounty still hung over his head, alive or dead. The ghost was Ethan Voss. He had survived the blast, captured by scavengers and sold to the Vaelians. Each night, he was forced to fight aliens twice his size for the amusement of the court. But tonight, something changed. The arena gates opened, and a figure unlike any other descended the steps. A woman in armor woven with silver light, her gaze cold and cruel. The Queen herself. "Bring me the human," Seraphine commanded. The guard shoved Ethan to his knees before her. Her beauty was otherworldly, eyes glowing violet, hair cascading like threads of molten glass. But her voice was poison. "You destroyed my fleet," she said softly. "You killed 10,000 of my kin. I want your head, human." Ethan spat blood at her feet. "Then take it yourself." Gasps echoed around the court. The guards raised their spears, but Seraphine lifted a hand. "You challenge me?" Ethan held her gaze. "I challenge your right to rule. Under your law, anyone can invoke the right of dominion, can't they? Even a slave." Her lips curved into an amused smile. "You know our customs well, little savage." "I learned from the best," he said. "You taught me every time you conquered one of my worlds." The throne room fell silent. Finally, Seraphine laughed, a sound like shattered glass. "Very well, human. You wish to die on your feet? Then I'll grant you that honor. Tomorrow we fight before the Empire. The right of dominion." The next day, the grand arena of Aurelia thrummed with energy. Billions watched from across the galaxy. No human had ever stood before a queen in combat. None had lived long enough to try. Ethan stood bare-chested, his scars glowing faintly beneath the alien sun. In his hand, a blade forged from scavenged metal. Nothing compared to Queen's living weapon, a sword of light that pulsed with her heartbeat. Seraphine stepped forward, her armor alive with biocrystals, every movement both regal and lethal. "This is your end, human," she said. "But know this, you've earned a place in the songs of my people." "I'm not here for songs," Ethan replied. "I'm here to end them." The battle began with blinding speed. Seraphine struck first, her sword cutting arcs of light through the air. Ethan dodged, rolled, countered. The crowd roared. He was fast, but she was faster, centuries of combat encoded in her veins. Each strike forced him back. Each step closer brought him nearer to death. Then he saw it, a flicker of exhaustion, a hesitation in her form. The blast that destroyed her flagship hadn't just scarred her pride. It scarred her body. Ethan lunged, driving his blade through her side. The crowd gasped as her blood, silver and luminescent, spilled onto the arena floor. But the Queen did not fall. She smiled through the pain. "You think you've won?" Her free hand reached out, touching his chest. A surge of alien energy ripped through him, throwing him backward. The pain was unbearable. "You destroyed my fleet," she hissed. "Now I destroy your soul." Her sword rose for the final strike, and Ethan's hand snapped out, catching her wrist. "You destroyed enough," he growled. Then he twisted, pulling her own sword downward. The light blade pierced her chest. For a heartbeat, everything stopped. Seraphine looked at him with shock, not fear. "You fought with honor." Ethan lowered her to the ground. "You ruled with cruelty. That's why I had to stop you." Her hand brushed his face weakly. "Then rule better than I did if you can." The light faded from her eyes. The human king. The arena was silent. The law was ancient and absolute. Whoever killed the queen in the right of dominion became the ruler of the empire. The crowd began to kneel. First one, then hundreds, then thousands. The humans watching across the colonies saw it too, their greatest enemy bowing before one of their own. Ethan Voss, the man who had lost everything, now sat upon a throne of stars. Weeks later, the throne room glittered with alien light. Advisors and generals stood in uneasy silence. Ethan wore no crown, no armor, only the scars of war. "Your Majesty," said Admiral Karwydh, one of Seraphine's former lieutenants, "the outer colonies await your decree. Shall we crush the human resistance?" Ethan's voice was quiet but firm. "No, and all campaigns. Free the slaves." The alien nobles hissed in protest. "Blasphemy. You would undo centuries of rule." Ethan's eyes flared. "I didn't take this throne to repeat your mistakes." That night, as the twin moons of Aurelia shone over the capital, Ethan stood alone in the queen's chambers. The walls were lined with portraits of her ancestors, each one staring down in judgment. He whispered to the shadows, "I never wanted your throne." But the throne did want him. When he touched it, the crystalline surface pulsed, whispering in his mind. Images of war, domination, and endless power filled his thoughts. It was more than a seat. It was a living relic, an ancient intelligence that bound itself to every ruler. Rule or be ruled. Dominate or be devoured. Ethan pulled his hand away, panting. He realized the truth. The empire wasn't built by its people. It was built by the throne itself, a parasitic intelligence guiding rulers toward tyranny. And now it had chosen him. The final defiance. The next day, Ethan called a meeting of the High Council. "I'm dissolving the Varelian Empire," he declared. Effective immediately. Chaos erupted. Generals shouted. Guards reached for weapons. The floor trembled as the throne's light began to pulse violently, fighting him. "Blasphemy!" the council screamed. "The throne is the empire." "Then let it die with it." Ethan roared. He drew Seraphine's sword, the same blade that had ended her reign, and plunged it into the throne. Cracks of light shot through the crystal structure. The throne screamed, a sound that wasn't sound at all, but psychic agony ripping through every mind in the chamber. The palace shook as the energy surged outward, consuming the old order. When the light faded, the throne was gone. Only Ethan remained half-conscious, surrounded by shattered crystal. Epilogue. Months later, on a rebuilt colony world, Ethan Voss walked through the streets wearing simple clothes, no crown, no soldiers. Children played freely under banners of both species, human and Varelian, side by side. He had dismantled an empire, not to rule it, but to free it. As he watched the two races laugh together under a shared sun, he heard Seraphine's voice echo softly in his mind. "Rule better than I did, if you can." He smiled faintly. "No, Queen, I won't rule at all." And for the first time in 1,000 years, peace bloomed in the ashes of conquest.